The destruction of one artifact was just too much for our opponent. Hello, my friends, it's Johnaroth, and today I am playing with another Final Fantasy villain. This was actually a request where I got a message requesting a specific commander for me to build in a YouTube video from FireFX02, and that was for Sin, Spira's Punishment. Sin is a very expensive commander. It costs 7, 4 colorless, 1 black, 1 green, 1 blue for E7, 7 with flying. Whenever Sin enters or attacks, exile a permanent card from your graveyard at random. Then create a tap token that's a copy of that card. If the exiled card is a land card, create this process. So Sin basically comes out and looks at cards in your graveyard and makes copies of them if they're permanents, but if they're lands, puts them onto the battlefield. So the only way you can really control what you get onto the battlefield is by having one permanent in there for Sin to exile, and I kind of take advantage of that a little bit in this video. The rest of this deck, there's a couple different ways you could build a deck like Sin. You could throw in like 50 huge big spells into there and hope that Sin gets one out that's right for you. That is a strategy, and you can have some really fascinating, interesting games if you play that way. However, it is very inconsistent to be dependent upon that for a random card from your graveyard. I took another approach of having a more balanced deck. So as you can see, there are some big spells in here, but it kind of goes through a lot of the benefits of black, green, and blue. We have lots of ramp cards because Sin costs so much, lots of counter spell type things for the color of blue, and then lots of removal for black. I also took advantage of a lot of surveil type cards. Taval can help get zombies onto the battlefield with surveil. Glarb can help surveil cards into the graveyard, so can Ripples of Undeath. And then on the top end, we do have several really big creatures: Muldrotha, Gristlebrand, Bonnie Paul, Primeval Titan, etc. So I wanted to do this video in honor of my viewer who asked me to, so I hope you really enjoy this. Let's take Sin, Spira's Punishment, into the queue and see if we can exact some punishment on our opponents. Let's go. Our very first game is against Imskir, Iron Eater, so an artifact type deck. This hand has some good ramp to it and some pretty powerful cards, so we're going to keep this. Let's put down the Verdant Catacombs. Let's see if we can get a surveil land here. I'm going to pick the Hedge Maze since we have black mana in our hand. Entis Restoration. I'm going to say no to that one. Imskir cost 8 mana, but that's very deceptive. Oh, there's an Ornithopter. I'm going to put down a land and we're going to cast Rampant Growth to get another land. I'm going to go for a island. When Imskir, and he has affinity for artifacts, so you can make him a lot cheaper by having artifacts on the battlefield. When Imskir enters, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is half the number of artifacts you control rounded down. You can also sacrifice an artifact and have Imskir deal the amount of damage equal to that artifact's mana value to any target. I'm going to, let's see here. We're going to go ahead and put down a surveil land. Primeval Titan. Good card, but a little slow. Then I'm going to cast Awaken the Honored Dead to kill off the Signet, kind of limiting his mana. And our opponent scoops. The destruction of one artifact was just too much for our opponent. And our first game with Sin is a triumphant win. Yeah, having a lot of ramp in a deck like this is crucial. So I think that's what kind of intimidated our opponent. Good game. All right, we're playing against Kefka. I'm going to keep it. We'll try this. Kefka's a 4/5. Whenever enters or attacks, each player discards a card, and then he gets to draw the amount of cards based off of the types that are discarded. Bunny Paw is great, but not right now. Our opponent's going to cast Inquisition of Kozilek. Let's get down the Bloodstained Mire. We really need land with green in it, so we're going to get an Overgrown Tomb, get out a Lotus Cobra. Lotus Cobra has been consistent. Oh, great. He has a... He picked Elder? That's weird. His commander isn't an Elder. So he picked it for Croxa, I guess. Let's get rid of the... Blood Chief's Thirst, I suppose. Let's put down the Watery Grave. And are tapped, because why do we want to take damage when we don't have to? I'm hoping our opponent tries to cast some sort of artifact. He does not. Let's put down a island. We're going to cast Rampant Growth here. Get another land. What do we need more of? Probably forests. We'll swing in with the Cobra, hit him for 1. Opponent summons Shieldred the Apocalypse. Let's draw and see what we get. Cemetery Tampering. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Shieldred the Apocalypse. Let's swing in with Lotus Cobra. Opponent has a tap land, so that's good. Unfortunately, if we had drawn a land, we probably could have maybe gotten out Sin, but instead we're going to do Cemetery Tampering. Our opponent's thinking. These are not great picks at all. I guess we'll pick a forest. Hit our opponent for 2. If our opponent attempts to cast any spell, I'm going to negate it. And then if he casts Kefka on his turn, I'll just bounce it back to his hand so he doesn't get any card draw from us. Opponent is going to try to cut down the Lotus Cobra. I'm going to negate that. We'll mill some cards. We're going to swing in with the Lotus Cobra. Lotus Cobra chipping away our opponent 2 damage at a time. Gonna mill some more cards. We're gonna swing in with the Lotus Cobra. Let's get out Liliana. Unless he counters it.
No more distractions. Let's make this quick.
I'm going to have each of us discard a card.
Drop it.
If our opponent casts Kefka, I'm just going to bounce it back to his hand, so he'll only gain a card from... Okay, so he did draw a land. I think he's finally got the land that he needed. For Kefka. I don't know why he picked Elder with the Cavern of Souls. That was just an interesting move. Okay, I'm going to bounce Ragavan back to his hand so he doesn't get treasure or a card. It empties our hand, but that's actually advantageous for us against Kefka. And our opponent scoops. Yeah, there was some real misplays from our opponent here. What we're going to do on our turn, if we get another land, put that down. Probably summon Sin. Tick up Liliana for another one. And if he doesn't kill Liliana after that, we'll be able to use her ultimate. That was just a very interesting game against Kefka. Good game. Our next game is against Slimefoot and Squee. I really wish this hand had a forest in its opening. I'm gonna mulligan. Well, look at that. Okay. This is better. So we'll keep this. I'm going to put down Delight Halfling. Basically, Slimefoot and Squee is a reanimator deck. It's a 3/3. When it enters, it creates a Saproling, and you can basically bring back creatures from the graveyard as long as you have a Saproling to sacrifice on the battlefield. And you can also bring back Squee with that Saproling sacrifice. So let's put down an Arcane Signet here, put down a land. Going to go for black and blue, I think. And let's get out Rona so we can start cycling through our deck. We're off to a pretty good start. If Rona can stay alive, we can really cycle through a lot of components of our deck. But we'll see. Casa Goblin Bombardment. I'm gonna put down a land. Let's get out the Overgrown Tomb. Let's try drawing another card and see what we get. We did get another land, so that's good. I'm gonna drop the Cyclonic Rift and let's cast Uro. We'll put the forest onto the battlefield. How many cards do we have in the graveyard? 4. I'm just going to pass the turn. On our turn, we'll probably bring out Bonnie Paul, more than likely. We'll see. This kind of highlights the power of green and blue having the ability to ramp as well as cycle. So he may not have gotten a land, or he's just wanting to get some stuff into the graveyard, potentially. He's going to sacrifice a card to get Fury onto the battlefield. Is he going to kill Rona? Or the Delighted Halfling? Oh, both. No, he can't do enough for both. Actually, yes, he can. If he sacrifices Fury, then he can. Toxic Deluge will drop that. I'm going to use the Drag the Roots to get rid of the Goblin Bombardment right now. Probably should have done that earlier, quite honestly. That was a misplay on my part. Gonna kill off Ronan, the Delighted Halfling. Our opponent may be short on mana, we'll see. Okay, he did draw mana, but not a colored mana, so... Okay, let's get out Uro. Drew a card. Let's also get out a Llanowar Elf. Our opponent now needs 2 lands to get the 3 colors to even cast Slimefoot and Squee. I mean, that may have been his only land, so, but still. If he does not kill the Llanowar Elf on our turn, we're going to get out Bonnie Paul. Okay, so he puts down a mountain. Opponent I have in the graveyard. She has a white. He did get a Pitiless Plunderer out. I'm gonna cast Bonnie Paul though. We're gonna go for maximum value here. We're gonna get to draw some cards. I'm going to take 6. We're going to now go for a swamp and then get out the Inquiry Analyst so we can mill some more cards. Hopefully some lands. No. No, but we can get a couple lands back. We're looking at a massive attack on this next turn, potentially. Opponent's thinking heavily, maybe about red hot pancakes. Okay, so our opponent does have the land to cast Slimefoot and Squee. Potentially. Oh, Dark Ritual. That could be scary. Opponent has a Priest of Forgotten Gods. Alright. We did draw a land here. I think it's probably time for Sin to come out. We got out a bunch of lands. We're going to use the Binding of the Old Gods. What do we want to destroy? We're going to swing in for lethal here. I'm actually going to kill the token. We're going to swing in with everything. Our opponent has to block or he's dead. And we've eliminated the one sacrifice creature that he has. In order for him to get another Saproling, he would have to attack us to do so. And if he blocks with Slimefoot right now, then he's not going to have a token to resurrect anything. Opponent's going to take 12. Kill off Slimefoot. Now he doesn't have any tokens on the battlefield. Saprolings. He may have some other way of getting a Saproling, but I'm not sure how. He did not put the his commander back into the command zone, which is interesting. Let's get out the Cemetery Tampering. And we'll put the Great Henge underneath that. We are definitely threatening lethal here. Honestly, the only way I think I see him surviving this is a board wipe of some kind. He has a Faceless Agent. Our opponent right now has 4 mana. Okay, so he's going to use all of his mana to... Oh, he used the Shapeshifter as a Saproling. So he's going to use the Slimefoot to use Fury. He could kill the analyst and the elf, which he does. And he will have a token, but unless he has something for the air... Okay, he's at 6. Maybe he's hoping we'll kill Sin? I don't know. We're gonna have to sacrifice a creature. So we will create some treasure here. I'll sacrifice Uro. He could bring back Slimefoot and Squee again. It's an interesting tactic. We need a way to kill that priest or the pitiless plunderer, one of the two. This is kind of a combo here. Gonna put Chatterfang in the graveyard. Unfortunately, because the Priest of Forgotten Gods is tapped, he won't be able to pull that trick off again. So there's really no way that he can win this game. Good game. Thank you so much, my friends, for watching another one of my videos. This one featuring Sin, Spira's Punishment. I am a little bit torn about this card, if I'm just being honest with you. It is very fun to play with, and you can get out some really explosive, big effects from Sin. But whenever you have a commander that costs this much, even when you can lean into green for some of the ramp, you know, you spend 7 mana, you get Sin onto the battlefield, and there has to be something in your graveyard to get back. And then also your opponent literally could just have a Swords to Plowshares, or they could counter Sin if you don't have like a Delayed Halfling or Cavern Souls on the battlefield. And then you've used up all of your mana and not gotten any effect out of it. As far as power level goes, I would put Sin at probably about a C power tier. I did get paired against a lot of different opponents. However, for some reason, I continually got paired up against Kefka on a regular base. Obviously, that's based on the algorithm and arena, but I didn't even include all the games that I had against Kefka because that was literally half the games that I played, which is why this video is a little bit shorter. The deck list is in the description below. Please don't forget to like. Please don't forget to subscribe. Please don't forget to leave a comment down below talking about Sin or Magic the Gathering or your favorite toppings on pizza. I don't really care as long as I get to talk to you, part of the Magic community. Thank you so much for watching my video. Have a great day.